Petro-Canada, committed to Canadians.
Perhaps it was an omen. The day Fenway Park opened, it rained. When the first game was finally played, it didn't make the headlines. The Titanic went down, you see. And then there's that dreaded curse of the Bambino. The last Red Sox World Championship came in 1918. The next year, Babe Ruth was traded and the curse was upon them. The jinx has jumped in peculiar spots, like that memorable playoff in '78. Remember Bucky Dent's home run? A 6.5 game September lead, it turned into an early winter. The last time it struck, it got the Red Sox on the road. 10th inning, 6th game of the '86 World Series. The Mets won in 7 games. In '90, a 6.5 game lead is gone. What will happen to the Red Sox as they face the Blue Jays in the showdown at Fenway Park? TSN, the Showdown Network, presents the battle for top spot in the American League East. Tonight, the Boston Red Sox host the Toronto Blue Jays at Fenway Park. Tonight's game is brought to you by Labatt's Blue, the clean, true taste of Canada, and proud sponsor of Labatt's Blue Pitch. From the major leagues to neighborhood diamonds, it's the way we play. By Esso Retailers and Imperial Oil, you're on your way with Esso. And by your local bottler of Coca-Cola Classic, you can't beat the real thing. Hello and welcome to Fenway Park in Boston and game 1 of this showdown for top spot in the American League East. I'm Jim Houston with Buck Martinez. It's been an incredible roller coaster season for both of these teams. They both had the lead and given it up. Any advantage into this series?
Jim, I really don't think there's an advantage for either club. The Blue Jays lost 4 in a row last time they were here. The Red Sox, after a horrible early September, have won 2 in a row. So I think they're pretty even as they go into this opener tonight.
Cito Gaston has George Bell back in left field tonight. Why?
Well, he thinks this is an offensive ballpark, and he will sacrifice Ducey's better defense in left field to get John Olerud's extra bat in the lineup.
Dave Stieb has struggled in his last 3 outings and goes tonight. In his last outing, he didn't get out of the 4th inning. Is he up to this big game?
Well, Jim, Steve has a chance to dispel the rap that he can't win the big games. This could be the biggest game of his career tonight, and he needs a good one.
Dave Stieb is up against Mike Boddicker, who in the absence of Roger Clemens is the ace on the Red Sox staff. Game 1 of the showdown is up next. This is Labatt's Blue Jays Baseball on TSN.
Thirst for First, brought to you by Labatt's Blue.
We love you, Blue Jays.
Young guys like Junior Felix.
Olerud.
I thought I liked Fernandez.
That's right. I'm the same.
Oh, yes, we do.
I like Bell, but Gruber's one of the better players.
You gotta love Mookie.
We love you, Blue Jays.
And I like to see Teddy Gruber swing his hips.
That's right. I'm the same.
Labatt's Blue salutes the Blue Jays for the way they play.
I hear you looking. We're thinking about it. We're listening. You're in. I'll think about it.
If you want to make the perfect family 4x4, you've got to get it all right. The right number of doors. The right warranty, 80,000 kilometers. The right price. The right luxuries. The right performance. Introducing the new 1991 Suzuki 4-door Sidekick Family 4x4. All right. Suzuki.
All right.
The Boston Red Sox had a 6.5 game lead in the American League East on the 1st of September and blew it. The Toronto Blue Jays had a 1.5 game lead earlier this week and blew it. Now the Red Sox and the Blue Jays are on even ground, tied for first in the American League East with 6 games to go, the next 3 between the two teams at Fenway Park. On the season, the Red Sox have dominated the Blue Jays, winning 8 of the 10 meetings and have swept the 4 games at Fenway Park. The Blue Jays have hit only .217, mainly because they were shut out in the last 27 innings against the Red Sox in the series they played in Toronto. Pretty even in runs scored. The Blue Jays had one big game in which they shut out the Red Sox 11-0, which evened that up. In home runs, not a lot in this series, and the Red Sox aren't a big home run hitting team. The Blue Jays have been, although not against the Red Sox. And the Blue Jays have been better defensively all season long than the Red Sox, but the errors didn't hurt Boston in the season series against Toronto. So the Red Sox have dominated, but the teams are on even ground atop the division as they go into this one. It's been a media circus here today, and you can see that there's a presentation going on the field. It's a big award here called the 10th player. The Boston Bruins have one called the 7th player, to a player voted on by the fans. And like Jody Reed, who's just won this award, the 10th player award for the Red Sox, voted on by the fans, and it is a huge award to win the Boston area. The Red Sox are not new to pennant races at this time of year under Joe Morgan. Remember the year in 1988 when Morgan took over, and they had the great homestand and then went on to finish first and lose to the Oakland Athletics. So they're experienced. Well, the Blue Jays had last year's pennant race and a very similar one to this, a very close race that went right down to the wire with the Baltimore Orioles. And now here they are head-to-head in an incredibly close race here.
Both of these ball clubs have been here before, and the Blue Jays know that they have come back from a long way. 6.5 at the start of the month. We talked to the managers about how they assess this series coming up tonight.
Well, Bucky, I think 6 weeks ago we would been very happy to come in here even, and I think that's all we asked for 6 weeks ago, is to have another chance to come in here and perhaps win the American League East. So it's come true. I know that we probably could have came here a couple of games up, but we are even, so we do have a chance.
There's a couple of ways to look at it. If you'd like to win 3, naturally it'd probably be over then. But if a club wins 2, they've only got a 1-game lead. It's not the end of the world. There's 3 more games left. So one guy said to me, you know, if you take 2 out of 3, you'll have a 2-game lead. But he went to the wrong math school, didn't he?
Add it up any way you want to, but the sum is this. It's a tie for first place between the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. They start a 3-game series tonight, and the race will go right down to the wire. First pitch is just moments away. This is Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
What does he want?
Marcy, a priceless trout. Rare and illegal.
Where did you say you were from?
He'll kill your people by the thousands to get it. My coming beast. Must stop him.
What are you going to do? Tell him we're fighting drug dealers from outer space?
Pull it over.
My coming beast.
No, Lundgren.
And you go in pieces.
I come in peace. Now at theaters near you, check newspapers for locations.
Harry, fix the TV. What's coming up here? No, I see 2 at a time. No, a little more. It's almost there. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
How's this?
With Granada's free delivery and installation.
Yes. No. Yes.
You could rent to own an Electra-Home 21-inch color TV as soon as tomorrow. And at $24.95 a month.
Don't move. That's it.
Why hang around waiting? Granada. You'll see things differently.
Imagine visiting yourself in the future.
You're me. Surprised? Surprised. I'm beside myself. 23 years later. A few more gray hairs, I see. We've earned every one. You're in this lifestyle, too? How do we pay for all this? Freedom 55.
Freedom 55. Protection today, plus a financial program that works. So one day, you won't have to. Freedom 55. Talk to a London Life representative.
Here comes your future husband. I don't believe this.
The 11th and most important meeting of the season between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox is coming up from Fenway Park in Boston, where the Blue Jays were swept in their last visit, a 4-game series late in June. Here's the crew that gets to handle this most important series. Jim McKean works behind home plate tonight. Drew Coble has first, Davy Phillips second, and Tim Welke works at third base. The Red Sox have taken the field, and their pitcher tonight, not Roger Clemens, who's still scheduled for tomorrow, but it's 33-year-old Mike Boddicker, who now gets a couple of starts in the last 6 games of the season. That's why things were adjusted so that he could start tonight and then would be ready again Wednesday if he's needed, and if Roger Clemens can't answer the call. He's up against Cito Gaston's Toronto Blue Jays, 84-72, 12 over 500. Haven't won at Fenway this year. All sorts of lineup changes. Kelly Gruber missed Wednesday's game with the flu. He's back in the lineup tonight. George Bell is in left field for the first time in 29 games. So John Olerud, who hasn't started a game since the 7th of September, is the designated hitter. Pat Borders is behind the plate with a right-hander on the mound. Often he only starts against left-handed pitchers. And Junior Felix, who's been out all week with a Charlie horse, is back in right field.
Right-hander Mike Boddicker is the type of guy that could give the Blue Jays fits, but they have been able to handle him the last couple of years to the tune of 11-7. That's his career mark against the Blue Jays. 16-8 this year. He's the horse right now. He's the guy they want in there twice in these last 6 games of the season, simply because Clemens can't make the call. He'll throw a fastball, a curveball, a forkball, changeup that he calls a Fosh pitch. He'll also have to throw a lot of pitches inside. It's ironic that Boddicker, the soft tosser, and Steve have hit just about as many guys the last 3 years. Boddicker's hit 31. Steve's hit 35. That tells you that Boddicker's got to pitch inside to be effective, and look for a lot of inside fastballs from him tonight early in the count.
He's really risen to the occasion since Clemens was hurt. Boddicker is 5-0 in his last 7 starts. Boston ranks right in the middle of the pack, 7th defensively in the American League with 120 errors. Wade Boggs is back at third base after a couple of days off with a bad back. Louis Rivera plays it short. Reed is outstanding at second base, and Carlos Quintana is in his first year learning a new position and has played well at first. Greenwell, Burks, and Brunansky know this park very well, playing in the outfield. It's a gorgeous night, cooling off, but you expect that in a pennant race as we near October. Skies are clear, the temperature 22 degrees Celsius and dropping. And there is a bit of a wind, but not much of one that will be a factor in this ball game. And so the showdown's underway as Boddicker delivers strike 1 to Mookie Wilson. Ball 1-1-1 to Mookie Wilson from Mike Boddicker. On the ground, charged by Jody Reed. Flips to first base, almost pulled Quintana off the bag, but he stretched out, made the catch. Wilson's gone.
Boddicker gets Wilson out in front with a changeup. He hits it off the end of the bat. Jody Reed, playing deep on this natural grass field, has to come hard and unload quickly and get some help from Quintana. A nice stretch as he takes the wide throw easily. Quintana, as Jim mentioned, learning the first base position, and he's done a very good job. You can see that stretch helped out the throw from Jody Reed.
So here's Tony Fernandez, who's been on a bit of a hot streak. 6 hits in 14 at-bats in Milwaukee, and now hitting .327 for the month of September. And still on his hot streak. There's the first base hit of the ball game, a single by Fernandez, with 1 away in the first.
These two ball clubs in this ballpark have scored 23 runs in the first 3 innings in that last 4-game set, so they both like to jump out early. Fernandez has been a hot hitter. Since they closed the gap, Fernandez has been all around the scoring rallies. Right down the middle, he just takes it back up the middle. Coming into tonight's game, he was 28 for 70. Really playing a tune late.
Kelly Gruber at the plate with a runner on first base. Strike 1, thrown by Boddicker. Gruber missed the last game on Wednesday with the flu, so he's had a couple of days off. Feels better today.
Kelly with several of his teammates was out early for BP.
Gruber has not fared as well as some others against Mike Boddicker for his career in a limited number of at-bats. Of course, Boddicker's been around considerably longer than Gruber. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gruber's on a 15-game hitting streak. Hitting almost 400 for the month of September, 397 to lead the Blue Jays. Fernandez with his leadoff first outside. Fernandez has taken over as the top base runner on the team. He's even with Mookie Wilson at stolen bases with 23, but Mookie Wilson just hasn't been running. He hasn't stolen a base in 16 games. Fernandez has caught up to him and tied him in stolen bases.
Tony's finally feeling healthy, and his knees aren't bothering him so much as they were earlier. The other side of the coin is that Mookie Wilson's had some problem with his feet lately, so he hasn't been able to run.
And in a series like this, 1 stolen base that gets a runner into scoring position might be the difference. And Fernandez is off and running. Pena with the throw. Safe stolen base.
Fernandez picked a great pitch to run on. He got the slow curveball from Boddicker. Look at it jump. First move from Boddicker. Watch his foot. Up. Fernandez gets a good jump. He checks out the pitch. Pena's throw is high to the first base side of the bag. But the pitch is a curveball. It takes a long time to get the home, and then Pena with a good, strong throw, but it tails on him a bit. Goes to the first base side of the bag. Fernandez with a good, quick, hard slide gets in there.
Strike called on Kelly Gruber. And the count is full. The stolen base puts a runner in scoring position for the top RBI man. Kelly Gruber with 113 this season. Here's the 3-2. Walked it. First and second, 1 away.
Boddicker elected to go with the breaking pitch with a base open, even though McGriff wears him out. But he knows that Kelly Gruber's been the hot hitter recently, and Freddie McGriff has been in a slump.
59-year-old Joe Morgan, soft-spoken manager of the Red Sox, equally soft-spoken manager of the Blue Jays, Cito Gaston. And Fred McGriff is at the plate. Rips the first pitch into right. Brunansky makes the catch, throws the ball in quickly, and holds the runners. Brunansky just stole extra bases from Fred McGriff and kept the Blue Jays from taking the lead.
Brunansky has taken over right field the same way that Dwight Evans played it so well for so many years for the Red Sox. Look at the concentration, watching the ball right into his glove. Clearly makes the catch before it hits the grass. Good concentration, extra bases, robbed. That would have scored at least 2 if it gets by Brunansky. Take another look at it. A good jump on the ball. McGriff pounded it. And Brunansky robs Freddie McGriff of a base hit and possibly 2 RBIs.
The way he went at that ball, he was in no position to block it had it not gone in his glove. And what could have been a 2-0 lead is a fly ball to right, 2 away, runners at first and second. Here's George Bell. Bell hasn't had a hit since his 5-for-5 night on Monday. Strike thrown by Boddicker. Bell, like Gruber's, had a tough time with Boddicker.
Because Boddicker gives you so many different looks. He drops down. He'll throw 3 pitches from 3 different arm positions. That'll give him 9 different pitches to throw. So he's always caused Bell a lot of problems. Bell has to be a little more patient against Boddicker and wait until he gets a ball in the strike zone.
1 strike pitch. Ball and a strike. Boddicker, given a reprieve by his right fielder, has a chance now to get out of this inning unscathed. Fernandez at second and Gruber at first. Base hit, stolen base, and a base on balls. 2 balls and a strike to George Bell, who's had his troubles in this series. He says he doesn't like this ballpark. And in the series against Boston this season, he's hit just .129. Here in Boston, he's only 1 for 15. The 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. George Bell is in left field so that John Olrud's back. It's back into the lineup. Hasn't had an at-bat in 3 days. Hasn't played since the 7th of September as a starter. Bodeker's 3-1 to Bell. Popped it up. Boggs makes the catch. That's all for the Blue Jays in the first. They threatened but didn't score. The Red Sox are coming up against Dave Steve. This is Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
For just $24.95 a month, you could get rid of that pain in the neck and rent to own a new 21-inch Electra Home Color TV or a VCR for the same price from Granada. If you get both, we'll throw in a stand. And with free delivery and installation, isn't it time you went to Granada? Granada, you'll see things differently.
Introducing new Butterball turkey from the deli. Lunchtime, party time, anytime. Butterball for today's active lifestyles. Ask for Butterball prepared meats. Now at your favorite deli. Any way you slice it, Butterball is Canada's favorite turkey.
You're looking at a new level of comfort. Barefoot comfort. Comfort you get with Carrier's revolutionary new gas furnace with breakthrough technology. Carrier gives you remarkably even heat with no toe-chilling drafts. Economical? The most. Quiet? Quieter than a mouse. Carrier cares about your complete home comfort, from your head to your toes. Carrier, for those who want the best.
People are in such a hurry when they drop off the film. Sometimes they don't even see the Kodak Color Watch seal. But you've got to look for it. The Color Watch seal means great color. No seal? Who knows? You got to look for it. Now, sometimes it'll be right there.
33-year-old Californian Dave Steve, leading winner on the Toronto Blue Jays with 18 victories, goes to the mound with just 1 win in his last 4 starts and winless in his last 3 as he faces Joe Morgan's Boston Red Sox. They had a 6.5 game lead September 1st. Glad to be even now. They are the top hitting club in the American League with a team average of 273. Wade Boggs is back after 2 days off with a bad back. He has the top average at 304. Ellis Burks with 88 is the top RBI man. Sox are 13th in the league in home runs with 100, so they don't hit a lot when they do. Burks leads the charge. He has 21. Sox against the Blue Jays at Fenway Park this year are hitting .315.
Dave Steve, 18-8. He has a shot at 20 wins. He needs this one and then a possible start Wednesday in Baltimore. But Steve's game will depend an awful lot on how this first inning goes. He needs to get some calls from home plate umpire Jim McKean. He needs to be able to throw that slider to the outside part of the plate and get the called strikes. That'll give him confidence to throw it more often throughout the course of the game. The flip side of that is if he doesn't get the call, then he's going to have some doubts about throwing it. So it's important early in the game to establish that he's going to get that called slider.
Defensively, the Blue Jays have committed fewer errors than any other team in the major leagues. Notable changes tonight at the outfield of Bell, Wilson, and Felix. Not as fast as the Ducey, Wilson, Witten outfield. We were watching in Milwaukee. George Bell back in left for the first time since a game against Boston on the 25th of August. It's been 29 games since he played in left, and he's out there tonight as Jody Reed, winner of the 10th Man Award, the coveted award in Boston, steps up against Steve. Strike one thrown by the Toronto right-hander.
You can really tell Dave Steve how he feels by his tempo. There's what he did last time. He didn't get out of the first inning after being staked to a 3-0 lead at the top of the inning.
Got no decision. His team tied it up and then lost at 10-8.
I would much rather see Dave Steve out there working quickly. That shows me that he's much more confident. He seems to be hesitant early. But, you know, know, there's a lot going on in his mind. Pat Borders gets this nod tonight, even though there's a right-handed pitcher, because he's worked so well with Dave lately.
The last 2 starts for Steve Brick, Myers has been behind the plate. Steve has struggled, although Myers has caught some of Steve's wins this season. Borders was behind the plate for the no-hitter, for example, and some of Steve's best games, so gets the call tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Steve has already made it further than he did in his last start at Fenway Park. Throws out Jody Reed, and Carlos Quintana will be the batter. Still a few seats just in the upper right-hand corner of your screen that are empty tonight, but they are filling up as the fans file in for this big series at Fenway. Strike 1 thrown to Carlos Quintana. 25-year-old Venezuelan who was an outfielder until last season at AAA when he started to learn first base and as a first baseman in the big leagues. Now you're sitting at home thinking, I should have taken a flyer and driven to Boston. I could have got a seat. There are a few empty ones that are filling up. I'm a little surprised to see any empty seats at this time of night.
I think it's just the fact that the traffic is so bad that people are late getting there. I think they'll fill up before it's all said and done.
No one to Quintana. Had a mind to go around, held up. Ball to strike. Pitch. Base hit by Quintana into right. Wilson's over to cut off the ball and gets it in. Quintana is held at first base. A 1-out single for the first baseman.
Quintana's been bothered by a separated shoulder. He hurts head first sliding into third base, but now he stays on the ball. You can see him drive it to right field. This kid's a good hitter. And he learned an awful lot from Cesar Tovar, the great player from Venezuela. Went with that pitch and got the first hit off Dave Steve tonight.
Now Steve must face an extremely tough part of the order. Boggs, Burks, Greenwell come up in the middle of this order. Again, Boston is the top hitting team for average in the American League. Boggs has been bothered by a bad back. He's won for his last 20. Has had a couple of days off. And 304 for Wade Boggs is a pretty low average. This is a man who has a career average of 350. Wow, hit on the ground. It's a base hit to left. Quintana just goes to second. First and second with 1 away for the Boston Red Sox. The Blue Jays got first and second with 1 away in the top of the first and couldn't score.
With back spasms, missed 2 days, but he said he feels fine, and this stroke is patented. Wade Boggs through the hole by Kelly Gruber into left field. And the Red Sox have runners at first and second with 1 out. Boggs, an everyday player, said when his back went bad, he kept playing with it, but he couldn't raise his hands up high enough to get on top of the ball. So he went to Joe Morgan, said, I need 2 days off to give my back time to quiet down, and then I'll be all right for Friday. Looks like he's got himself paid pretty well.
And the bonus for the Red Sox is that they won both games without Boggs and now have him back for this series. Borders and Steve meeting again. They had one meeting on the mound. Borders went back and Steve called the catcher out one more time. So Ellis Burks will be the batter with runners at first and second and just 1 away, bottom of the first inning. And Ellis Burks has enjoyed considerable success when facing Dave Steve.
Burks is a good hitter out over the plate, and he's going to get that ball out over the plate. It's going to be a slider. Steve throws so many sliders that when you let one hang out over the plate, a hitter like Burks can really wear it out.
Strike 1. Steve gets out in front.
The meeting between Borders and Steve was to go over the signs. They had some confusion about which set of signs they were using. They wanted to make sure they were both on the right page. Borders has really turned into an outstanding catcher. I think he's going to eventually be an all-star catcher. He's handled the pitchers very well.
Does it take a special kind of catcher to settle Dave Steve down when he gets upset, as he does sometimes on the mound?
It's very important to continually talk to Dave and tell him how well he's throwing. Give him that confidence that you're throwing great and these guys can't hit you. As long as you stay positive, you'll get the best out of Dave Steve.
1 ball, 1 strike. Steve seems to be at his best when he's really got a flow going, when he's working quickly, when he's not stopping a lot between pitches. Cito Gaston knows that, and Pat Borders knows that. Can the catcher keep the pitcher moving? Can Borders help out?
He certainly can by making sure that he calls the pitch that Steve's looking for. That'll speed the tempo up. Not making Steve shake off pitches to get to the next one.
The 1-2. Foul. First and second for the Red Sox at the bottom of the first, and the count's a ball and 2 strikes on Ellis Burks.
Burks really got hot at the start of the month, went into Cleveland and hit a bunch of home runs, and then he suffered a back problem. That caused him to alter his swing, but he's over it now and has been a key hitter in this lineup all year long.
This is a tough order. The first 5, the lowest average is 289. That's Quintana. He's already got a hit. Base hit to the gap in right center. Cut off by Mookie Wilson. Quintana's around third. He's on his way home. The Red Sox lead 1-0.
This pitch is out over the plate. Look at the location. Burks is just looking for something out over the plate, whether it's a slider or a fastball, but you can see he didn't pull off the ball. He didn't try to pull the ball. He wasn't expecting anything outside. Steve's going to have to show the Red Sox hitters that he could throw to both sides of the plate. Burks got the pitch he was looking for, even with 2 strikes, and fought it off and hit it into right field.
3 consecutive 1-out singles. Runners at first and second. Boggs has moved up to second. Burks is at first with the RBI. Quintana's in 1-0 Sox. And Mike Greenwell is at the plate. Ball 1 from Steve. Doesn't get any easier. Greenwell has been the hottest batter in the Red Sox. 294 average. 13 for his last 26, hitting .500 in recent games. 1-1.
Greenwell's had problems all year long with that ankle, his left ankle, his power ankle. And that is a support that was built by Mickey Cobb, the trainer of the Kansas City Royals, by his son. And it's a one-piece support that really has done the trick and helped Greenwell rebound after a very poor first half. It's a one-piece brace that actually wraps the ankle and gives it support. He hasn't been able to find anything until he found this brace to give enough support to drive off that back leg, his power leg.
1-1 to Greenwell. Hits the ball into left field. Bell is up with the ball, gets the ball in, and Boggs is held at third. Bases loaded, 1 away.
Cito knows this is a good hitting ball club. Greenwell hits a rocket to left field. Bell gets it in real good shape and then makes a good throw right to the cutoff man. This is important. Right to Gruber. That holds Boggs right there to third. This is the difference in Mike Greenwell in the second half. He's been able to put all his weight on that back foot and then drive forward right through the hitting area. He is healthy, he's sound, and he's been a very productive hitter for the Red Sox in the second half.
Galen Cisco, the pitching coach, is out on the mound conferring with Borders, and Dave Steve, who's given up 4 consecutive 1-out singles, has the bases loaded, 1 away and 1 run in.
Wednesday night, when the Red Sox beat the Indians, they had 4 consecutive singles with 2 outs that eventually led to 5 runs. That was the difference in that ball game right in the first inning. I talked about it at the top of the show, how both of these clubs have had good, fast starts in the series here in Fenway this year. Last time against Steve, the Red Sox scored 6 runs in the first. For that double play ball.
Boggs, Burks, and Greenwell aboard, and Dwight Evans is a big game player. That's his reputation is at the plate. Designated hitter, ball 1.
That last pitch was not a good sign. Steve knows that he really throws well and is very effective against Evans. But that last slider he threw, he really muscled, and it stayed up in the hitting area. He was lucky it wasn't over the plate.
Evens the count, 1-1 with a strike.
Career strikeouts, most of them coming on the slider. Evans just can't get out there and reach that slider. He's never been very comfortable against Steve. He's not real confident that he can go out there and get the good slider. What Steve could really do right now is bust him hard inside just to set up the outside part of the plate, because as much as he really doesn't want to, Evans is thinking about the outside part of the plate.
Popped up. There's the second out. It will be a fine bit of pitching if Steve can get out of this inning with no further damage after 4 consecutive hits and only 1 run in. Now, it's been a remarkable season for Dave Steve. The most wins of his career, the fewest losses, a no-hitter. But if he's not at the top of his game here, that might be all anyone remembers. Now he'll face Tom Verdansky. Strike 1.
Now see where that breaking pitch was? That was up about the letters. He didn't give it time to break. He's throwing it a bit too hard now. The adrenaline is really pumping inside Steve. He needs to back off, take a deep breath, and give that breaking pitch a chance to get to the outside part of the plate. Just actually muscling it right now. That's much better. Saw the break on it. Although it missed outside, it was a lot quicker and sharper.
Steve only pitched 3 2/3 innings in his last outing, so he's well rested, maybe a bit too strong. The breaking ball not quite breaking the way he wants.
The rest and the adrenaline and the excitement of this game.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled back, a ball and 2 strikes to Tom Verdansky.
What Steve's got to do is just back off right now. He's gotten away with a couple of breaking pitches that weren't real good to Verdansky. Verdansky's real good down and out over the plate. You can strike him out by going upstairs with the fastball on the inner half of the plate. He'll chase that high fastball. And Steve probably won't throw it in this situation because he hasn't thrown many yet. I was wrong. He was trying to get him to chase, and that's the hook on Verdansky.
So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 2 away, bottom of the first. 1-0 Red Sox.
Now, if Steve really wanted to cross up Verdansky, he'd throw another fastball. Everybody in the ballpark's expecting a slider right here. 2-2, 2 out. Good pitch. Even though it missed, that's a good pitch. Now he's going to have to throw the slider, but he's got so much confidence he can throw it over the plate 3-2.
Close it all, Verdansky will have to go after it. Full count, bases loaded. And he leads. And Steve is out of 1 big jam. 1 run is in on Ellis Burke's single to score Carlos Quintana. The bases left loaded. Could have been a lot worse, and Cito Gaston knows that. Red Sox 1 and the Jays nothing after an inning. This is Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
mortgages, we're #1. If you're buying or selling, call us first.
Having a mortgage shouldn't make you feel trapped. You need a mortgage with flexibility.
Buying a home is one of the most exciting times in your life. And with the right mortgage options, it just keeps getting better.
I can usually pre-approve your CIBC FlexiPlan mortgage, offer you terms from 6 months, and even show you how to pay it off years sooner.
Well, let's face it, the best mortgage is the one that's paid off. And my job is to help you get there sooner.
Get us working for you, CIBC.
You may never have to find out how much control Yokohama all-season tires really give you. But with 70 years of tire engineering excellence and long-lasting traction, it's always there if you need it, no matter what kind of car you drive. Yokohama Performance Radials. Now you've got control.
To the second inning. You're watching the Blue Jays on TSN, the Sports Network. Boston has a 1-0 lead. And the Blue Jays will be thankful that they got out of that first inning. The Red Sox only got 1 run. John Olerud facing Mike Boddicker. Olerud hasn't had an at-bat in the last 3 games. His last start was on the 7th of September. Because George Bell has been designated hitting, Olerud's been out of the lineup and nowhere to play, so he's only had 3 at-bats in the last 18 games. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 away.
Olerud's inactivity won't hurt his swing at all, but it'll hurt his timing. And that was a good example as he's out in front of that changeup. When you don't play much, you can take all the batting practice you want, but when you face a guy like Boddicker who throws so many different speeds, it's very difficult to get a read on the timing and just stay back and be patient.
You know why? Well, Olerud has been sitting on the bench because Bell's been the designated hitter. Pat Porter's has faced some inactivity in recent days simply because the Blue Jays have faced nothing but right-handed pitchers, and Greg Myers has started many of those games. Porter did get a chance to play on Tuesday in Milwaukee with a left-handed starter out for the Brewers. But Myers came back and played on Wednesday. One ball, 2 strikes from Boddicker to Borders with 1 away.
Excuse me, Jim. Pat is such a high-strung guy that a game like this could really cause him grief. He's going to have to talk himself into being calm and relaxed, particularly against Boddicker.
Got it. 2 away. First strikeout for Boddicker.
Look at the target Pena gives you. Sitting down right there. Paints the outside with a good fastball. Borders expecting some other pitch. Jimmy McKean rings it up. That's what Boddicker can do. Mess with your mind. You think you got him red, and all of a sudden he crosses you up with a fastball.
Boddicker's a quick worker, and he quickly works to Manny Lee. Ball 1. Lee hasn't hit particularly well at all this season. He may be starting to get something going with 5 hits in the series in Milwaukee. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 away. Two balls and a strike to Manny Lee.
Look at the tempo that Boddicker's fallen into. He looks for a sign, gets it, boom, he's working. He and Pena are really clicking.
So you think the batters will have to be careful that they don't let him get away with it and set the pace all night?
They can't fall into his trap. You're right. They have to call timeout and tell the umpire, give me a second, let me get set. This is just a fastball up, trying to buy some of that outside corner. Pena has really worked well with these pitchers.
Full count. Way up into the Boston ninth. Rivera calls off Boggs, makes the catch. 3 up and 3 down for Mike Boddicker in the second inning. He's working quickly and had a great second inning. How will Dave Steve do? Find out when we return to Fenway Park. This is Labatt's Blue Jays Baseball on TSN.
Arthritis pain, a common complaint among my patients. To relieve the discomfort, I rely on new deep cold therapy, a cool, penetrating gel that helps ease the pain of arthritis. Deep cold therapy lets you get on with your active day.
Presenting the 1991 Suzuki Swift 4-door sedan. A family sedan built to such high standards that it is fully warranted by Suzuki for 3 years or 80,000 kilometers. All the room you need, all the comforts you demand are right before your eyes. The 1991 Suzuki Swift 4-door sedan. All right.
Play Walt Disney World Baseball Magic at A&P and Dominion. Win a trip for 2 to Orlando, Florida, home of Walt Disney World Resort. All trips provided by Canadian Holidays, a world of vacations. Win up to $25,000 in Thomas Cook MasterCard Traveler's Checks. Win a Honda Civic Hatchback. Honda, the official car of the Toronto Blue Jays. Or this Samsung camcorder, a shop-vac vacuum, or a Janome sewing machine. This week's feature, Tetley Tea. Better tea bag, better taste. And Ragu Old World Spaghetti Sauce.
Now let's go to the A&P Dominion draw for a trip for 2 to Walt Disney World in Florida. Today's host is Bill Tice of Kraft Foods.
It's my pleasure to draw the winner of a trip for 2 to Florida. And the winner is... Elaine Ruthnodge, Stroud, Ontario.
The Red Sox with a 1-0 lead to bat in the bottom of the second inning against Dave Steve, who gave up 4 consecutive singles but only 1 run. And the Red Sox aren't the go-go Sox. They don't go first to third very often and often need 3 singles to get a run. Tony Pena to lead off against Steve. Is in his 138th game this season. Brendan Rice in the other division, the National League East. Pittsburgh is yet to play against St. Louis. That should be getting underway soon. And that game between New York and Chicago features Dwight Gooden and Greg Maddux. That game features Ken Hill for St. Louis and John Smiley for Pittsburgh. Pirates with a 3-game lead on the Mets. Los Angeles playing in San Francisco, and with the Reds at home to San Diego, their magic number is 2. They can clinch tonight. With a win and a Dodger loss, that would leave only the East divisions to be settled. And this is the closest race of all. 0-2, Dave Steve to Tony Pena. Strikeout number 1 for Steve.
Steve looks like he's gone out to the mound tonight with a different game plan. He started Pena off with 2 fastballs and then throws the slider, and you can see what a weak swing Pena took at it. But Galen Cisco had made an impression. Finally, it appears on Dave Steve, who used that fastball. It's a good fastball. Hitters around the league are sitting on your breaking pitch. And if you start these hitters off tonight with a few fastballs, at least you put it in their minds, and that makes them go after that big breaking ball.
Louis Rivera at 228, the lowest average in this lineup by a long shot. Wins now, and Stewart have left the rest behind. Clemens still scheduled to pitch tomorrow. Fair ball hit by Louis Rivera with 1 away. He's around first on his way to second. It's down in the corner, and Bell is up with the ball. It's a double for Rivera.
Just inside the bag at third base, Rivera turns on the fastball, hooks it by Gruber, who wasn't expecting him to pull Steve's fastball. It goes all the way down in the corner, and that's a tough corner to play, but you've got to concede 2 bases anytime it gets down there. Bell plays it very calmly off the fence back into the infield. Rivera has a 1-out double.
And Steve is back to the top of the order facing Jody Reed. Strike one. Up and in, a ball and a strike.
That September figure reflects to me the fact that Reed plays so hard, and he's playing every day, and he's just simply run out of gas. He's a little guy that plays hard. He's had a pretty good year coming in here batting .292, and this September just fatigue has caught up to him.
He's played well defensively. Now he steps out.
I like the way that Steve has decided to throw some fastballs tonight. It shows me that he's a bit more aggressive and coming right at the Red Sox hitters.
But given that a .228 hitter ripped a fastball for a double and pulled it down to the left field corner, might he shy away from it?
I don't think so. I think the better hitters in the lineup are better breaking ball hitters. The Luis Rivera's pretty much have one pitch they can hit. Generally, that's a fastball. Rivera's a pretty good fastball hitter, but Steve was just trying to get him ahead with the fastball. But when you get those 300 hitters at the top of the lineup, they hit the breaking ball pretty well, particularly when they can look for it. Once again, Borders and Steve are having problems communicating. Sometimes in Fenway Park, it's difficult to see the catcher's signs when flashed because of the shadows. It gets dark in between the catcher's legs, and sometimes you lose how many fingers are being thrown down there. From time to time, I've worn strips of white tape around my fingers so the pitcher could see all of my fingers. But you can see the shadows cast in there. Now Reed's got bugs flying around. Listen, I'm trying to hit Steve's slider. I don't need any distractions.
Rivera has his lead off second. 1-1 pitch. Strike, ball, and 2 strikes.
You can see how the Red Sox just are caught off guard by Steve's fastball. He's got a reputation of throwing an awful lot of sliders, a great slider, but simply throwing too many.
The 1-2. Chopped to the shortstop, Hernandez. To McGriff, Reed is out, 2 away.
I'm really glad to see Steve throwing so many fastballs. He gets his fastball in and jams Jody Reed. Off this natural tear, Fernandez has to charge hard, and it takes a little funny skip as it hits the edge of the grass there in front of Tony. But he throws it across the infield. McGriff helps him out, digging out to throw in the baseline.
Blue Jays have just come from a series on a natural surface in Milwaukee. That probably helps a little bit coming in here instead of coming from the artificial turf right to here. Charged by Gruber. Nice play by the third baseman to get Carlos Quintana, and there's the 3rd out of the inning. A Luis Rivera double. He's stranded at second base, and Steve is much better in the second than he was in the first.
A much better play, much easier play for the third baseman, who cuts in front of Fernandez. Gruber's momentum carrying him towards the bag at first base. Good, strong throw. Hits Quintana by a half a step.
To the 3rd inning. Steve and the Blue Jays trail Boddicker and the Red Sox by a run. This is Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
out of the pack. Head for the clean, crisp, ice-cold taste that says genuine Bud. And from one Bud man to another, this Bud's for you.
So, did you print the Coca-Cola Classic? Billy was supposed to.
Not me.
Michael!
Michael! Billy forgot the Coca-Cola Classic! Coming right up.
Can't be there. Billy, you got yes from a Coca-Cola Classic.
My Michael.
Can't beat the real thing.
You can go as far as your heart can see, beyond any road that you want to be, 'cause it's your day. You're on your way with us all.
From Fenway Park in Boston, we go to the third inning with Mike Boddicker facing Junior Felix. Having given up only one hit, a single to Tony Fernandez with one out in the first, the Blue Jays got two aboard with one out. The sensational defensive play by right fielder Tom Brunansky kept the Blue Jays from scoring two. And he went down on the grass sliding and caught a fly ball off the bat of Fred McGriff. And so the Red Sox have the lead as Junior Felix is at the plate for the first time this week. Been sitting out with a Charlie horse. Felix, although he's only hit 14 times against Boddicker, has hit well. 2-1. And 3-1 to Junior Felix.
Boddicker, like Steve, is using a few more fastballs, and Junior was behind that fastball. You expect slow curve, change-up, and with two strikes, you really got to hustle to foul off a fastball. There's the change-up.
Boggs calling for it. One away. 6 straight retired by Boddicker. Wilson swings at the first pitch. Quintana backhands it to Boddicker covering. 2 away. Mookie Wilson's now 0 for his last 13.
Quintana has done a very good job defensively, but this throw is a bit behind Boddicker. Pitchers would rather have it out in front of it so they can run into the ball. That way their momentum carries across the bag, but Quintana has played a lot better than anybody expected.
He's 25 years old from Venezuela. Last year, just 45 games at first base in Pawtucket, the AAA farm team. This year, full-time first baseman. Tony Fernandez has the only hit off Boddicker, and now there are 2 outs and he's up again. Includes the single for Fernandez in the first inning tonight. Boddicker continues to work rapidly. 2-0, he's fallen behind. Walked one, that was Kelly Gruber. With 1 out in the first. And since that walk, he's retired everyone he's faced. Crazy hop for Reed, but he played it nicely. And another 3-up, 3-down inning for Mike Boddicker. He's retired 8 straight. We'll go to the bottom of the third, and the Red Sox up against Dave Steve with a 1-0 lead. This is Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
When you get engaged, you want to find the right words.
What do you say we go off when we get married? We could go to Niagara Falls.
You also want to find the right diamond.
I think we'd make a successful merger.
Well, let's go off to the ranch and get hitched.
But how much do you spend on a diamond for the woman you love?
Forget it.
A good guideline is 2 months' salary.
Will you marry me?
Yes.
Yes? Ask your local jeweler about the 2-month salary guideline. A diamond is forever.
You always liked the falls, didn't you?
Isn't this amazing?
Pardon?
The Eiffel Tower.
Ah, yes.
This was originally built for the Paris Exposition of 1889.
Uh-huh.
Of course, now it's a famous Canadian landmark, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something. Boy, look at that steel work, will you? Intricate as lace.
Oh.
That's something. You know how many rivets it took?
No.
Over 2.5 million.
Really?
You know, this was the actual size of Toulouse-Lautrec.
Canadian.
The product. The proving grounds. The results. STP gas treatment is the edge.
Why not have turkey for lunch? Introducing new Butterball Turkey Cold Cuts for today's active lifestyle. Ask for Butterball Turkey Cold Cuts and slice and serve prepared meats at your favorite store. Any way you slice it, Butterball is Canada's favorite turkey.
These are shots from this afternoon at quite a media event here in Boston. Writers from Boston and area from all over Canada. From the Boston Globe to the Moosomin World Spectator, everyone in North America is well represented here. And there'll be lots of stories tomorrow morning. But it was pretty difficult for the players to get all of their work done. But they should expect that when a series like this is taking place. This is a quote from the Boston Globe today. Nick Cafardo wrote that this is the biggest weekend event in Boston since... Yeah, well, we'll forgive you for the exaggeration. It doesn't say much about the 75 World Series or the 86 or even the 46 if you want to go back further. But we get the drift. It's a big weekend. Dave Steve to work to Wade Boggs. Did you like these big media events as a player when there were all sorts of writers and broadcasters around asking questions?
You had to like it. That meant you were playing well. That meant you were in a race of some sort, playoff, division championship. Sure, you liked it.
Ball and a strike, but some players don't and avoid the writers like the plague in those pregame sessions.
When they get out of baseball, they're going to be sorry they did that. It's a great opportunity. They should relish every moment of it. It doesn't come around that often. I always enjoyed it.
Wish everyone felt that way. Our job would be a lot easier.
You're telling me.
Ball and a strike. Inside with the fastball, 2 balls and a strike.
It'll be interesting to see how Steve pitches the Red Sox the second time through the lineup. That's a slider that he overthrew and just lost it.
So it's 3-1 to Boggs, who singled in the first. Boggs with 181 hits, missed a couple of days, and has pretty much given up on a chance at an 8th consecutive 200-hit season. Now it's 3-2. The record is 10 consecutive 200-hit seasons in the major leagues, and held by Pete Rose. Boggs would have to get 3 hits a game in the next 6, and I suppose if anyone's capable of doing it, he is. But it'll be tough. Boggs is out 1 away. Following tonight's game, we'll select the Labatt's player of the game for the Blue Jays on behalf of Weed Eater. Blow the work away with a Weed Eater blower. You can give your garden the professional look the easy way. Convert it quickly to a vacuum with an optional attachment. Weed Eater blowers for garden convenience. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Special Olympics on behalf of the Blue Jay player of the game and Weed Eater. Ellis Burks has driven in the only run of this ball game, and he's at the plate for the second time. Steve has fallen behind again. 2 balls, no strikes.
Now that's the little dead fish Steve will throw from time to time. It's just a fastball, just thrown about 85% of effort. It just comes up there and dies in the strike zone. Kind of a batting practice fastball that hitters really can't get a good read on.
2-1. High fly ball to right field for Junior Felix. Makes the catch. First fly ball out of the night for Steve, 2 away.
Well, that's what that dead fish does for Dave Steve's fastball. It makes Ellis Burke late on it. He just had seen the dead fish, 2 balls, no strikes, and it disrupted his timing enough that he was late on that next fastball and a lazy fly ball to right.
Here's Mike Greenwell with 2 out. He singled to load the bases and was stranded in the first. What a second half he's had.
The first half, his ankle was hurting him so bad he just would hit off the front foot, had no power whatsoever. He's always done well against Steve. That includes the first hit tonight.
Low and in on an 0-2 pitch, a ball and 2 strikes to Greenwell. Greenwell hit a 2-run double last night in Detroit, helping the Red Sox beat the Tigers and move into a tie. Cecil Fielder got a home run in that ball game, and did he ever hit it?
Number 49. In the Red Sox clubhouse, it was interesting. They listened to Joe Morgan comment about the home run. He said, I'm really glad he hit it. I hope he hits 50, and I'm glad we won. So he was really pleased with the whole night in Detroit.
Second strikeout of the night for Steve. He gave up 4 hits in the first inning, 1 in the second, none in the third. He's settled right in and trails 1-0 to Mike Boddicker and the Red Sox. This is Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
This sports update is brought to you by Suzuki, makers of Swift, Sidekick, and Samurai, the affordable performers.
Welcome back to our TSN Control Center in Toronto. I'm Chris Sedens. We'll send you back to Fenway Park in just a moment. But first, let's check the standings in the National League West Division coming into action tonight. The Dodgers 5 games back of Cincinnati in the West Division. A Cincinnati win tonight coupled with the Dodgers loss, and Cincinnati wins the division. Lou Piniella hoping his Reds can clinch the West title tonight. Top of the first inning, Danny Jackson will strike out Bip Roberts. Gets him swinging. No score after 1 inning of play. Bottom of the second inning coming up, Chris Sabo comes to the plate. Sabo crushes this Bruce Hurst offering. 25th home run of the season. Reds lead 1-0. LA will play San Francisco later tonight. There you see the score, 1-0, 5th inning. We'll head back for 4th inning action at Fenway Park, the Jays and the Red Sox after this.
If you want to make the perfect family 4x4, you've got to get it all right. The right number of doors. The right warranty, 80,000 kilometers. The right price. The right luxuries. The right performance. Introducing the new 1991 Suzuki 4-door Sidekick Family 4x4. All right. Suzuki.
All right!
The Pittsburgh Pirates hope to meet one of these teams, Boston or Toronto, in a World Series. And to that end, Chuck Lamar is a Pittsburgh scout here watching this game.
A lot of scouts watching the other clubs. I'm a bit surprised that the Red Sox didn't have a scout in Milwaukee to scout the Blue Jays. They were concentrating more on Oakland and the National League teams. Gruber way out in front of that breaking pitch. Kelly Gruber is a perfect example of why you should have a scout on the team you're going to play in a big series like this, because Gruber was in a horrible slump the last time the Red Sox faced him. And you all know what he's done in the month of September.
The last time the Blue Jays met the Red Sox, they lost 3 of 4. Kelly Gruber and George Bell went a combined 0 for 24 in the final 3 games. Between them, they're 0 for 1 here, and the middle of the order is over. 2 balls and a strike. Boddicker to Kelly Gruber. 2-2.
This is a conversation talking about how you pick up pitches, what to look for. Make up your mind to look for one or the other. You can't look for both of them.
Gruber was lost on that pitch.
If you swing at balls against Mike Boddicker, he'll breeze through the night. Take a look at this pitch. It's out of the strike zone, and Gruber goes after it. But Boddicker sets this all up by throwing strikes early in the count, getting ahead, and staying aggressive. But you've got to get strikes from Mike Boddicker. He will pitch 6 inches off the plate all night long as you continue to swing at it.
Fred McGriff swings and misses at the first pitch for Boddicker. The crime dog has been in the pound. No RBIs in his last 14 games, hitting 173 during that span. But he'd argue that his RBI drought should be over. Tom Bernansky robbed him in the first inning. Nice play by Rivera. Pulled Quintana off the bag. After a spectacular play to get to the ball, he pulled the first baseman away from the bag, and McGriff is aboard.
And he's been given a base hit. What a play by Quintana. You're going to see all kinds of great plays in this series as the players on both sides are up for this big matchup. But the throw pulls Quintana off the bag. He's got to concern himself with the catch. McGriff has hit the ball hard twice tonight. That's a good sign for the Blue Jays. And right there gets a base hit after a fine effort by the shortstop.
George Bell hits the ball into left. Caught there by Mike Greenwell. Bell's on 2 away. Almost denied a base hit for a second time on a sensational defensive play, but he's aboard. 2 away, and John Olerud's up. John Olerud came to Boston this season and played his first game at Fenway Park and had 3 hits, including a home run. Center field, Ellis Burks makes the catch. That's all for the Blue Jays in the 4th. They got their second hit. Fred McGriff single. He was stranded at first base. The Blue Jays are gone in the 4th. And Dwight Evans leads the Red Sox to the plate in the bottom of the 4th when we come back. This is Labatt's Blue Jays Baseball on TSN.
The sporty surprise from Hyundai.
Not for the way it goes down easy. Not for the way it went to the picture. Just for the reason. Just for the taste of
Park has a capacity of 34,000 plus. Not all of the seats are full tonight. There are only 28,000 here for a game in the Pennant Drive on Wednesday night against Cleveland. And some people think it's been so quiet around Fenway because the Bostonians are waiting for the Red Sox to lose. Jody Reed said it was pretty quiet, all right. He said they're less rambunctious here now. They're almost like Toronto fans.
I think that's a cheap shot. But I was here Wednesday night, and I was really surprised that there weren't more fans and that they were awfully quiet.
Dwight Evans popped out to the first baseman in the first with the bases loaded. Evans, plagued by a bad back, isn't particularly fond of being the designated hitter. Like most players, he'd like to be out of the field every day and would still like to play right field. He keeps himself in very good shape. He uses a stair machine. He says it's like climbing a mountain every day to keep in shape.
It's called the Versa Climber. Straps himself into the steps and really works hard. He's had to work hard to keep that back strong enough to get out there as often as he does. He's had problems the last couple of years with a bad back.
1 ball, 1 strike. Steve to Evans. Foul back, a ball and 2 strikes.
Evans is hitting out of a different stance than we saw last time up in Toronto. He's a bit open. That front leg is towards the third base side of the field. And then he'll step right back towards the plate to close up again.
Steve has his 3rd strikeout of the night. Evans is gone, not too happy about it as he slowly makes his way now to the dugout.
Once again, Steve crosses up Evans by throwing a fastball. It catches him off guard. Jimmy McKeon rings him up. But the Red Sox hitters expect more sliders, particularly with 2 strikes from Dave Steve. That's the pattern he's established over the years. And Steve has really thrown a wrench into their plans tonight.
Getting stronger as the game goes on. And now faces Tom Brunansky for the 2nd time. Brunansky grounded out with the bases loaded in the first. Brunansky came over in an early season deal that sent Lee Smith, the reliever, to St. Louis. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Bucky hurt himself in June and really hasn't been right at the plate since then.
Well, he made a diving catch against Mickey Tettleton June 16th in a game that was really well in hand. They were leading by 6 runs. Same type of catch he made against Fred McGriff earlier in the game and banged up his shoulder. It really hasn't been right since.
Part of the reason the Red Sox have come back to the Blue Jays in the month of September. 2 balls and a strike, Steve to Brunansky. So it's hard for the Red Sox to make up their mind on whether or not they're going to sign Brunansky or try to. He's a free agent at the end of this season, makes $1.5 million. And his contribution, although he's been fine in the field, as you saw earlier in this game, at the plate has not been great in September. So do you spend those kind of bucks on Tom Brunansky? And obviously it'll cost a little more than 1.5 to sign him. 2-2. Got it. 3 straight strikeouts for Steve. 4 in the game, 2 away in the 4th.
Steve gets the slider down and away from Brunansky, all set up by a fastball earlier in the count. You can see that that pitch was about 6 inches off the plate. But when Steve's in a groove, tough to pick up the rotation of that slider down and away from him.
Tony Pena with 2 away. Struck out in the 2nd. He's a free swinger. Breaking ball, 1-0. Kelly Gruber. 3 up and 3 down for Dave Steve, who's retired 8 straight and used only 11 pitches to get the Red Sox in the 4th. Now his team will try and get to Mike Boddicker in the 5th. This is Labatt's Blue Jays Baseball on TSN.
and roll.
Here's McGuire coming along to the field.
Yeah, this could be the last play of the season for these guys, Bubba.
That's the truth, partner.
Third down and long, and here's the snap. Looks like play action, and what a block by Crawford. He just threw it on Martin. Crashed him. McGuire's in the clear, and Bukowski made the big play, and what a play. Let's look at it again.
The trap bell going the wrong way. Leveled Martin cleared the lane here, and Bukowski and McGuire hooked up to make it to the one.
Yeah, first and goal, which should be an exciting finish.
Are you, Bruce?
Let's talk about it.
Well, Bubba?
Heck of a play, partner.
Get to Harvey's before October 14th, and you're in for a very big surprise. It's Harvey's Big Deal. You get a big, juicy, charbroiled Harvey's hamburger. You get to top it off with a big, and I do mean big, beautiful choice of toppings. You get a big bunch of golden French fries. And until October 14th, you'll get the big deal for the little price of just $3.09. And to make the big deal even bigger, Harvey's will throw in a big 11-piece Rolo for free. Well, what are you waiting for? Harvey's. Beautiful choice.
Stay tuned following tonight's game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you this evening by National Trust.
There is one major financial institution that listens to your needs, that provides you with the personal service you're entitled to. National Trust. Make us the turning point in your financial future.
Catcher Pat Borders is the leadoff man for the Blue Jays in the 5th inning. They trail 1-0 to the Boston Red Sox, and quick-working Mike Boddicker has given up only 2 hits. Go back to the last series these teams played, and the Blue Jays were shut out for 27 consecutive innings in the last 3 games. So it's now 31 consecutive shutout innings by the Red Sox against the Blue Jays into the 5th inning at Fenway Park. And this is on a team with a makeshift starting staff. You think about the Sox starters, and every team probably thinks they should kill these guys, but the Blue Jays have been shut out by starters Dana Kicker twice, Clemens, Harris, Gardner. Boston starters, these are the starters only, have an earned run average, that's the average number of runs over a 9-inning game, of 2.27 against the Blue Jays this season.
Coming out of spring training, the Red Sox, everybody criticized the Red Sox for a lack of depth in their pitching staff. Boddicker, you can see by that run support graphic, 5.5 runs a game. Stottlemyre has received 6 runs in support. Fortunately, he hasn't been able to take advantage of it fully. But Clemens and Boddicker were the 1-2 of the staff. They didn't expect to have 3, 4, and 5. But certainly Greg Harris, Dana Kicker, and Tom Bolton have done a great job.
Fouled away by Manny Lee. In the rest of this series, the Blue Jays will see Roger Clemens, or will they? Who knows? And Greg Harris on Sunday. But it seems very much like Roger Clemens is really going to pitch tomorrow afternoon.
I was told that he's going to pitch tomorrow, going to take the mound, toe the rubber, and pitch. They didn't know whether or not how long he would pitch, but he certainly will be out there tomorrow.
The extra day was scheduled to go tonight was not for Clemens. The extra day was for Boddicker.
Exactly. They want Boddicker to start twice in these last 6 games. They know that he's healthy.
2-2. Fouled away by Manny Lee.
Boddicker was pretty upset about it early in the week when they kept saying Clemens on Friday, Clemens on Friday. He knew that he had to pitch twice in this 6-game stretch, but they were late in telling him.
Two balls, 2 strikes. This whole cloak and dagger scenario in Boston is amplified because of the fact Clemens won't speak to anyone. He has imposed a media silence, and it's for some years now. So nobody really knows what he's thinking. And some of the Red Sox do, and Joe Morgan does, but Joe then won't tell anybody what Rogers says, so nobody really knows what the heck's going on with the guy. It's very mysterious. When they meet under the cone of silence. Base on balls to Manny Lee.
I spoke to Joe Morgan before the game today, and he told me that when Clemens threw in Baltimore, he threw very well. Threw the ball hard, threw about 80 pitches, and really was impressive. But then he had a setback. Evidently, the effort he utilized in that warm-up session hurt him a bit. And then he had a setback. They were going to start him once before this series here. Morgan said, no, if we're going to take one shot at it, I want to save that one shot for the Toronto series. So we'll see. But he's supposed to take the mound tomorrow. Joe Heskin will be the backup if Roger can't answer the bell.
On standby. Junior Felix. Manny Lee at first base. One away. There's a ground ball. Reed, Rivera, Quintana, double play. The base runner erased by the double play and will go to the bottom of the fifth. 1-0 Red Sox. This is Labatt's Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
Kurt Becker, married, 2 children. I've been his agent at the Mutual Group for 8 years.
2 children?
Well, just had twins.
Well, that changes things.
Now he's looking for more protection.
Well, how about adding some term insurance? Change some GICs to an RESP for education.
He's still looking for investment and growth.
Well, then he should hold on to his mutual funds. Makes sense.
That's one approach. Now, what else can we show him?
The Mutual Group and you, facing tomorrow together.
It was a perfect day for a picnic. We sat surrounded by the trees of my youth, and seeing the life in front of me, I reflected how quickly it all changes. I wondered if our children, too, would someday return with their children to this same shelter, this peace of mind. And hearing their laughter carried on the wind, I knew the answer was in our hands.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Toronto Blue Jays Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Toronto Blue Jays Baseball Club. You're watching the Sports Network, TSN. I'm Jim Houston with Buck Martinez at Fenway Park in Boston. Game 1 of this 3-game showdown between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, tied atop the American League East. And the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead tonight. Mike Boddicker against Dave Stieb. Stieb gave up 4 hits in the first inning, but only 1 run. And he's been much better since then. In fact, he's retired the last 8 Boston batters he's faced as he goes up against shortstop Luis Rivera here in the 5th inning. Rivera doubled in the second. He's really a streak hitter. Rivera hit 300 for a week and 100 for 2. And in a series like this, when you're the opposition, you just hope you catch him on one of his down weekends. Kelly Gruber up with the ball. 1 away. Greg Maddux and Dwight Gooden into the 5th inning. Mets trailing by 3, running out of days in the schedule. Pittsburgh, the leader in the National League East, just underway in St. Louis with John Smiley against Ken Hill. Pittsburgh and New York meet in the final 3 games of the season. Cincinnati with the lead can clinch tonight. Dodgers start later on. If they lose, Cincinnati wins at home to San Diego. The Reds will be in, although that seems a foregone conclusion at this point. Top of the order, and Jody Reed 0 for 2. Strike one, 1-1. Steve starting to really get a pace and an up-tempo performance going here.
Well, you can see the momentum building, and Steve more confident with each pitch. Now he's got the slider in there.
Minnesota and Detroit 1-1, fourth inning. There's been a home run in the game for Detroit, but it's Tony Phillips. Off the end of the bat into the glove of Manny Lee, 2 away.
Steve done a great job after a very shaky first inning of settling into a groove. And he's gone with his fastball almost exclusively from the second inning on. And he's really caught the Red Sox off guard. Galen Cisco obviously telling him, listen, the Red Sox are sitting all over your breaking pitch in the first inning. We got to make an adjustment. Another fastball for a ground out.
11 straight retired by Dave Steve since he gave up a double to Rivera in the second. 11 pitches to get out of the fourth, just 7 pitches to get out of the fifth, and we'll go to the sixth on the Sports Network from Boston when we return. This is Lomax Blue Jays baseball on TSN.
This update is brought to you by your local bottler of Coca-Cola Classic.
We'll head back to Fenway Park in just a moment, but first let's check out what's happening in that National League East Division race between the New York Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, coming into action tonight, the Pirates with a 3-game lead and a magic number of 4, meaning any combination of New York losses and Pittsburgh wins adding up to 4, and the Pirates will win the division. Let's check in on the Cubs and the Mets. Bottom of the third inning, 2 on for Pat Tabler. Tabler grounds one to the right side, but Mark Grace makes the nice pickup and throws to second to get the force. Ends the inning. We're scoreless after 3. Meanwhile, Dwight Gooden looking good on the hill in pursuit of win number 19. Here he will catch Sean Dunston, looking to end the Cubs' 5th inning. No score after 4.5 innings. And as I mentioned, it is 3 games separating the Mets and the Pirates in that tough race. Second inning action has St. Louis and Pittsburgh scoreless. Back to Fenway Park in Boston in just a moment.
I hear you looking. We're thinking about it.
We're listening. You're in.
I'll think about it.
Four of the 5 Red Sox hits came in the first inning. One of them, a single by Ellis Burke, scored Carlos Quintana for the only run of this ball game. They'll go to the 6th inning, and Mookie Wilson leading off against Mike Boddicker, who's given up just 2 hits. The Blue Jays have left 3, 2 in the first when they got runners at first and second with 1 out, and another in the 4th on a single by Fred McGriff, and he was stranded after getting to first with 1 out. Mookie Wilson is very familiar with big series in Boston, having played in that 1986 World Series, and he played in every game for the Mets against the Red Sox that year. He hit .269. Two and 2. For the at-bats he's got tonight, he's right around the 500 or 470 mark for the season. Most at-bats he's had since 1984. Excuse me, 570, close to 600 at-bats this season. Fly ball to center, and Wilson's out 0 for 3. But Wilson, despite all of those at-bats, and not having done that for a number of years, hasn't shown any signs of fatigue until now, if you consider that what's going on and the fact that he's gone 0 for his last 14.
But he certainly made a surge there mid-season and put in a pretty good second half for Cito Gaston. I think that he's very pleased with the way Mookie has come on down the stretch.
Certainly be happy with the way Tony Fernandez has responded lately. Hitting over 300 for the month of September, average up to 271 now, a single and a ground ball tonight. And he's taken over the lead in stolen bases on the Blue Jays with his 24th this evening. Fouled away 0-2 from Boddicker to Fernandez. Fernandez in his streak aided by the fact that the Blue Jays have faced almost exclusively right-handed pitchers, starting the games at any rate, in the month of September. And his best average comes from this left side. Ripped off the glove of the rookie first baseman. And Fernandez is on. That'll be a hit for Tony Fernandez.
Quintana goes to his bare hand side. Watch him try to backhand the ball and takes a little skip right off his glove. He didn't quite get over in front of it. Just had to wave at it with the backhand grab, but couldn't come up with it. Fernandez is saying, you got to leave that ball alone, man. That's a base hit. Don't even try to catch it.
A one-out single with the middle of the order coming up. Here's Kelly Gruber. Walked and struck out.
Gruber's been so hot at the plate, he really has to make sure he gets a strike from Boddicker. He struck out last time on a breaking ball that was outside. At least be patient enough to allow Fernandez to read Boddicker and maybe get a stolen base.
Two balls, no strikes. Is off and running. Pena's throw out at second base. Good jump and a great throw.
The difference in this attempt was the fact that it was a fastball that allowed Pena to get it in a hurry and get rid of it. Same jump, same glance over his shoulder, but because it's a fastball, Pena gets it quicker. The throw is on the money and Fernandez is caught. This throw is down on the money. Look at Reed. Put the tag. Fernandez slides right into the tag. But the difference in that play was the fact that it was a fastball. Pena simply got the ball a lot quicker. Time before, it was a slow curveball. Pena rushed it and left the throw high. That time he knew he had a good shot at Fernandez.
Fernandez out at second base. 2 away. Nobody on. Tony Fernandez has now been relieved of his hit. Long throw by Boggs to get Gruber and end the inning. The play at first base has now been called an error on the first baseman Quintana instead of a hit. Either way, the Blue Jays are out of the inning with nothing to show for it and have now gone 33 consecutive innings without scoring on the Red Sox. This is Labatt's Blue Jays Baseball on TSN.
It's the small things you can count on every day in your life. Job done well, a friendly smile that make it all worthwhile. Radio Shack, ooh.
This week at Radio Shack, save $70 on a TAD 412 telephone answering machine. Never miss another call with this dual cassette answerer. Has programmable security code, remote control operation, and much more.
Radio Shack, touch technology.
The kids are in from school. The baby has been picked up from daycare. And you just finished a day of work that felt more like a week. But everyone's together again. And for the first time today, you see what's really important. Making it all suddenly seem worthwhile. Catelli pasta and sauces. The favorite of Canadian families time after time. Some things never change.
OK Tire Stores and Michelin would like you to meet your tire's worst enemies.
Drive over me, and you'll get my point.
Hey, I'm gonna retire your tires.
I'll sink to any depths to break down your walls.
But if you buy your Michelins at an OK Tire Store, you're covered. Every Michelin passenger tire has an exclusive